Welcome, everyone. And I'll tell you the truth. I am psyched as psyched can be. We are on the eve of NFL Week-1 action with the Rams hosting the Buffalo Bills tonight and making it all the better, back for their second year in a row. It's hard to believe people would want to be with me for the second year in a row. But Don Buster of sportsmemo.com and Rocky Atkinson of sportsmemo.com, and also the founder and creator of winningcappers.net, is joining me again for another profitable season of NFL shows. We'll be here each and every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but don't worry about watching it live. It'll be archived so you can watch it at your leisure. Gentlemen, welcome to week one of the NFL. Rocky, what's going on with you these days?
Same old stuff, John, living life day by day.
Yeah.
Did have the COVID last week, so that wasn't very fun. I was sick a couple of days, but hey, the NFL season is here. 70% last year. Can't wait to get involved with it here again this year.
I was going to say, Buster, this guy is way too humble. I mean, he hit 70% against the spread. I think he had one or two shows that were bad on NFL, right? We busted him for that, and he went 0-1 or something 2 weeks in a row.
Actually, John, now that you say that, I was going to comment on that. So you must have been reading my mind. I was going to say, it's pretty bad. Rocky goes out, hits 70%, comes on the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I think he goes 0 for 3 or 0 for 4 with his picks. It's almost like he went out of his way to make sure that he gave us the losers on just because of me and you. I don't know. What do you think? I didn't get all those 70% winners, Rocky. You know what I mean?
I did feel there like there was piano on our backs there for a couple weeks to carry the show. You know what I mean? But no, seriously, it was a lot of fun. And, Rocky is number one over at Sports Memo and Winning Cappers. But honestly and humbly, you're looking at three guys here that have been doing this for more than 20 years each. There's a lot of experience in this little show here. And I think we're going to have some big best bet ideas for you to consider. And at the end of the day, you want to get these guys their premium picks. Those are the ones they sell to their clients. And some of those clients have been with these guys for decades. And the reason they're with them for decades is because they win and there's no hype. There's no BS. Sure, we're going to have losing weeks. We're going to look like we never handicapped football in our lives. But, at the end of the season is what matters. And you have to invest in the season, not just one 10-unit game of the month hyped play from, any of us or someone else. We're going to lose those too once in a while. In fact, I had the Phillies over last night, Rocky and Buster, and they didn't get over 7.5 runs. They got 7. It's still a loss, but I'm 11-3 in those max bets in Major League Baseball, but it still hurts. But that's my point. You just, on any given night, anything can happen. Speaking of which, I'm going to start things off here. I think, and I'm glad you guys are sitting down, you may have heard in the rumblings on the Twitter feed that I think the New York Giants are going to go into Tennessee and come home with a W. They have a new head coach. New culture seems to be forming there. I kind of liked how they looked in the preseason at times, and they are backed by a pretty solid system here that I'm going to show you guys right now. And I'm not going to belabor the point. Bet on road dogs of 3 or more points in week 1 action, and the dog lost their last 2 games of the previous season by 7 or more points in each game. In other words, they finished pretty darn poorly. And that recency bias carries over even into a new season, obviously by the track record. So these dogs are only 10-22 straight up, but if you play the money line, you still make money. But better yet, 21-11 against the spread for 65.6%, 22-10 over under 69%. That tells me there might be a little sprinkle here on the over team total in the Giants as well. And when I say a sprinkle, that means exactly that. You're not, taking the whole filet mignon roast and throwing it on top of an existing bet. You're taking just a little sliver of it and applying it to the bet. So no more than 10% of your normal bet size. So a $100 bettor would bet $10 on that prop bet. So that's all I'm going to say today, guys. I know I like to talk a lot, But I really am confident the Giants are going to come home with a win, and I think that is worth a sprinkle on the money line, and even a money line parlay sprinkle with the money line in the over might make sense. But this is information for you guys to consider, and you can do with it what you want. Now we're going to move over to Don Buster here, and he's taking a look at the Washington Commanders, who have a new, I guess that's a mascot. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that is a new, well, they have a new logo at least. So the new logo, new mascot going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars and their new coach, Doug Peterson, who was the head coach of the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl. However, I don't think this year is a Super Bowl contending team there in Jacksonville. But these two teams are pretty darn even when you look at it on paper and some of the analyses I've done. But I know, Buster, you have a pretty good play and a pretty good view and feel for this game. So take it away and tell us what you got for us.
Well, thanks, John, and thanks for having me again. And I need one more play for my circa, entered that circa millions. So I might have to, I will take a harder look at the Giants there now that you've brought that information to the table. Yeah, our play is going to be on Washington -2.5. Truthfully, I'm not sure why all the love is for Jacksonville. Now, I understand there's a lot of new moves and everything. This line opened up at 3.5, and now it's bet down to 2.5. And we've been doing these videos all last year, as John has said, the three of us. And most of my plays, as if you go back through, you'll notice that I do a lot of home underdogs, and small home favorites. That's what I like. Those are the ones that I hunt for. And this one here, I also love to be the contrarian in these situations. And here, as of today, what we do, as you know, we do these Thursday mornings. And right now, 97% of the money is on Jacksonville. That's not a good sign. I know it's only Thursday morning, but that does tell you some things. I have no doubt that Trevor Lawrence is going to be better this year, especially with Urban Meyer gone. And as John said, Doug Peterson's a new head coach, but it's not going to happen overnight. I mean, it's going to be a work on progress on both sides of the ball. Now, one thing Jacksonville has done, they've improved that offensive line. They got Cam Robinson, and they also have Brandon Schiff, and that's going to really help the offensive line. But remember, Lawrence only threw for, I think, just slightly over 200 yards last season per game, and that's not cutting it in this year's NFL or prior year's NFL. That's for sure. The defense will be good eventually. Again, another work in progress because there's a lot of young talent there. They have a couple staples, but again, the defense was not good as a unit last year. Big problem for Jacksonville here. They have not won on the road in over 3 years since 2019. 0-8 last year on the road, 0-8 in 2020 on the road. And you know what? That's hard to back a team like that, although a lot of people are right now. I know, new starter for Washington, Carson Wentz. And say what you will about Carson. You know what? He did throw 27 TDs, only 7 interceptions last year in Indy. And we know he's not the most accurate passer by any means. We understand that totally. But doesn't this feel like the perfect spot for him to start his career in Washington? It does to us. You know what? He can game manage with his experience here, going against a defense that's not there yet by any means. And I think it's a perfect spot for him to start his career. Now, Washington's defense, geez, they had a lot of bad luck last year. Tons of injuries. They're going to be much, much better this year, in our opinion. And of course, John, for you, like always, every time we do these videos on Thursday mornings, got to have those trends because you and Mr. Rolf Michaels, king of trends here. But for you, John, Jacksonville 1-6 against the spread as an underdog last 7. They're 0-4 last 4 against Washington. And Washington are 6-2-1 their last 9 against the spread. Bottom line here, Want no part of a team that has not won in 3 years on the road, and it's everyone's sweetheart this week. I'm taking Washington.
And I'm with you, Buster. I for the life of me, after what you watched in the preseason, and granted, Lawrence didn't play, but isn't there going to be a little bit of a chemistry issue in game one against a
Well,
Washington defense that's finally healthy? I mean, that's what I can't understand with the line.
yeah.
But
Again, John, I don't know what, there's a lot more information out there now, right? So there's more and more information, and it just, sometimes that can skew things for Joe Public, right? And, they're talking about how the defense is going to be way better for Jacksonville. Lawrence is going to be way better. Those things all might be true. Let's talk week 12 where I'm sitting on here saying I love Jacksonville +8 against whoever at home as a home dog. Then we can talk. It's week 1.
Can't agree more. Yep.
It's week 1.
You can't back a team like Jacksonville in week 1. That's not even a 50-50 proposition, for goodness sake. Let's move over to our all-time anchor. And did I say he won 70% last year, Buster, against
Very
the
good.
spread
Very
for his
good.
clients? That is remarkable. I don't think I've ever known anybody that's won 70%. And I guess I'm jealous. The highest I think I ever did was like 67, and I thought that was pretty good. But 70 that is out there in the stratosphere of brilliance. So we have a game that Rocky wants to tee up here, and it's an intriguing game for sure. Had a lot of drama before the season started, and that's the Carolina Panthers taking on the Cleveland Browns. And in this game, aside from the drama, you have some really interesting storylines. The Panthers are a 1-point favorite, and that is pretty much what they were 8 weeks ago when the Circa opened up all the lines. And for those that don't know, the Circa has lines for every single game for every single week of the NFL season that you can bet. There's limits on it, of course, but they offer those for every single week. Now, I will mention this real quick. Over the years, I've been collecting the picks of every single entry in these contests. So last year there was 4,500 entries, doing 5 picks a week, all sides. That comes out to roughly 15,000 picks a week in my database. So this I've been doing for 10 years, which obviously the Circa is in their 3rd year, but then we go back to the Westgate and the Hilton Super Contest, and I have all those. And I've been able to do some pretty cool applications with that data. And simply said, these opening lines are benchmarks. As Buster said, Jacksonville may be a different team come week 12. If they are, those lines that are in week 12, 13, 14 for Jacksonville are going to be vastly different. And any line that moves by more than 6 points, and believe me, guys, you know it for sure, there's a lot of them from week 12 on that have moved 6 points from when we're talking now. You fade that movement. That went 68% just on its own last year, just using the Circa data. Anyway, maybe we can talk about that on the show next week a little bit more. But Rocky's game here is the Browns and the Panthers. The market's telling us that this is a coin flip, maybe a slight edge to the Browns being on the road and only a 1-point dog. Rocky, take it away and tell us where to put our money in this matchup.
Thank you, John. Yeah, I think the main storyline here is the Panthers naming Baker Mayfield their starter. He's going to face his former team, the Browns, here in week 1 of the season already. Deshaun Watson was supposed to start for the Browns this year, but he was suspended for the first 11 games of the season. So Jacoby Brissett's going to get the start for Cleveland. Baker said in the interview that it's not about revenge here. But deep down, he has to want to get this win a little extra this weekend. He was in a similar situation in college where he transferred from Texas Tech to Oklahoma, and then he played the Red Raiders and beat them every time he faced them. So I'm thinking the same here in the NFL here with Carolina and Cleveland, as I think he'll want to definitely – although he won't say revenge, I think he'll want to get some revenge here on Cleveland in this one. So I think he'll be a little extra focused here And head coach Matt Rule for the Panthers, he needs to win in front of this home crowd. He went 10-23 in his first 2 seasons as head coach. So he's pretty much, he's probably on the hot seat, and he probably needs a win here in the opener in front of the home crowd here. Over the past 22 years, Cleveland 6-15-1 against the spread when playing in week 1. They finished the year last year 2-6 against spread last 8 games. Carolina's 4-0 against spread last 4 games when playing in September. So we have one team, Cleveland, that usually gets off to a somewhat of a cold start against a team that normally gets off to a good start in Carolina. So I'm going to take the better quarterback here, in my opinion. I'm going to take Baker Mayfield in Carolina to get the job done on Sunday.
Great stuff as always, Rocky. Before I let you guys go, take a 30 seconds or so, and Rocky, you start us off with telling us what you got going over at winningcappers.net and sportsmemo.com and anywhere else you want to promote your excellent plays. And I highly recommend you guys that are listening, guys and gals, take it, buy a 7-day subscription from these guys, give it a shot, and I know you're going to come away being more intelligent sports bettor, and probably with a little bit more coin in your pocket too, potentially.
Thank you, John. Yeah, I've got 4 premium plays going this weekend. I have a top play going on the Thursday night football game, which is tonight as we take this. And I've got a top NFL play going Sunday. And like we talked about earlier, 70% last year in the NFL. And that's a lot of what we talked about in the offseason. Every show I was on was talking about 70% NFL, 70% NFL. But what I forgot was I hit 61% in college football last year in the regular season, which is very good as well. And I will have two college football plays going on Saturday evening for this weekend. So come join me. Let's try to get off to a winning start here in week 1.
Yeah, there's no kidding around about that. I mean, people got to understand, especially new bettors with all the sports betting legislation that's being approved by new states now. Any guy that hits 58% for the entire season, that is one hell of a successful season. And then there's guys like Rocky who have to go and show off and make us look bad, hitting 65% when he goes and buries that at 70%. But seriously, 58% is reality. You hear somebody hitting 75 or 80%, I suggest running towards Don Buster and Rocky Atkinson. Don Buster, what do you got going on over there at sportsmemo.com?
Yeah, I'm just going to comment what Rocky had to say there. Believe me, when I hit 70%, I would be telling it all year, November, December, all the year. I'd be even telling that. We'll be talking about that 6 years from now. Yeah, remember back in 2021, Rocky hit 70%? That's how good that is. So congrats, buddy. And hopefully another successful year this year. For me at Sports Memo, I have NFL. I have a play on tonight's the opening game tonight with the Bills and the Rams, and I've got that in a package with a MLB game going. So head over to Sports Memo, check it out. As like John says, best way to go is probably to give us a try for 7-day all access. We actually do CFL as well, which we've been very, very successful ourselves. And don't want to toot our own horn against a guy like Rocky, but we are 62% lifetime. Maybe it's 61% now, lifetime over 6 years. That was when we first started at Wager Talk, and now at Sports Memo. So CFL, we seem to have a good read on that every year. Our NFL was very good last year, made 20 units for our clients last year. So looking forward for the season, looking forward to the contest to maybe hit a week. Who knows? I always say, you know what? I'm a very streaky gambler. Maybe, just maybe, might be able to go 18-2 in one of those quarters, and maybe I'll go down there and cash one of those big circuit checks. You never know. You might as well take a shot. That's all I say. So good luck to both of you guys, and with the college and the NFL this year. And looking forward to Thursdays coming on with you guys, and hopefully giving out a bunch of free winners to all the people that are watching out here, and at least maybe educate, like you say, John, the new guys that are coming on here that are first and don't and just give them another another way to look at a game. That's all. You can
Yep.
take a look at the game. You have 5, 6, 7, 10 different ways to look at a game. You can get a lot of information nowadays on the internet and a lot of good information. You get a lot of bad information, but you can get a lot of good information. And I'm a firm believer that the three of us give some good information out. We did last year and we will this year as well.
Oh, I agree. That's why we're back together. I think it's one of the reasons, and I think the other reason might be we like each other.
That helps.
Yeah, we don't yell and scream at each other. There's no F bombs on this show. I mean, it's pretty cool actually. It's kind of like a gentleman's show of expertise. But I'm off to a 6-3 start in college football at Georgia Tech, which that one kind of stung a little bit there. Like with that 5-minute ending, I thought I was looking good there, but that's why they play 4 quarters. But Florida State game was quite interesting too, because that one I was sitting there thinking, okay, this is a W. And that's something I'll leave you guys with. Don't ever sit there and think at halftime that, that's a winner. So now I'm going to take those winnings. I'm going to bet those winnings plus my other money on another game and be stupid. In other words, you don't assume anything and you got to be disciplined. It's the same amount of money every single game. I do 3, 4, 5%, just like Rocky and Buster do. I have a 4% on the total tonight in the NFL. So that covers all the bases between the three of us for tonight's game. And the weekend looks really, really good. I think I'm reading the card pretty well. So make sure you check that out as well. So that brings us to the sad part of the show, guys. It's the ending. And I always have trouble saying goodbye. But we're going to be back next week, Thursday at 10:30 a.m. with another edition of the Predictive Playbook NFL show for week 2. And until then, first of all, thank you for your time. Second of all, bet with your heads, never over it. And may all the wins be yours.